A quick little practice problem set about money and loanable funds. This is actually a continuation, the drop in credit card fees, of the practice problem in, let's see here, the money and loanable funds part 1. It's the drop in credit card fees here. And so that starts on page 13 in your problem set, at least in this version of the problem set. And it says, using a correctly labeled graph of the money market, show how the nominal interest rate will be affected. And it's as a result of the decrease in demand, the interest rate goes down from I1 to I2, and then it says what happened to bond prices and so forth and so on. So this says, given the interest rate change, what will happen to the price level in the short run? So, and this is just basically saying if there's less demand for money. So a quick little interest rate quantity of money, and the supply is fixed, and we're going to say the demand goes down from D to D1 because it tells us right here they demand less money. So the interest rate in that case is going to go down. So the interest rate goes down, what happens to the price level in the short run? So this is saying what happens to inflation in the short run, and explain. So it's saying if IN, the interest rate nominal, goes down, we would say that interest-sensitive expenditures do what? Well, they go up. So C plus I go up. Therefore, right, we could say that aggregate demand goes up, and we could say output rises. And generally, we would also kind of say that if that's true, that price levels are rising. And you could probably get away with maybe skipping the output rising portion, but it's the aggregate demand increasing that causes that higher price level. Now it says question 2, in country Z, the required reserve ratio is 10%. Assume the central bank sells, so the bank sells bonds on the open market. What's the impact on the short-run equilibrium price level? So if they sell bonds, and I'm just going to write this out here, if they sell bonds, therefore the supply of money gets smaller. That's a down arrow, right? And if the supply of money gets smaller, we would say the interest rate nominal goes up. And we have the same chain of logic up here. If the interest rate nominal goes down, price level goes up. Right here, if the nominal interest rate goes up, we're going to expect the price level to go down. And that's because if interest rate nominal goes up, C and I will go down indirectly, is maybe the better way to say that. Therefore, aggregate demand goes down. Therefore, the price level goes down. As a result of the price level change in part C, are people with fixed incomes better off, worse off, or unaffected? And explain. So if you have a fixed income, if your nominal income is fixed, and price levels are getting lower, we would say they are better because their real income goes up. The real income goes up because if you are on a fixed income but stuff is cheaper, now you can buy more stuff. You could also have said something to the extent of because your purchasing power is higher, or because their dollars are able to purchase more goods and services, right? There's a few different ways that you could phrase that. So, number 3, suppose the economy is at full employment and the central bank buys bonds. Draw a graph of the money market showing the short-run change. Okay. So, quantity M, interest rate nominal, supply, and demand. And if they buy bonds, the money supply gets bigger, right? And the B's line up, sell bonds smaller, the S's line up. So if the money supply gets bigger, S will shift to the right. So we would see Q1 to Q2, and interest rates are going to go down from I1 to I2. Now it says draw a graph of the loanable funds market showing the short-run change. Okay. Quantity of loanable funds, interest rate real. This is really important. It's too early for that. We have a downward sloping demand for loanable funds, and in loanable funds we have an upward sloping supply. And if there's an increase in supply of money, therefore supply of loanable funds should go up. And this is because this is one of the shifters of the loanable funds supply. So we're going to say S1 to the right. And so we would say interest rate goes down, I1 to I2, and Q1 to Q2. And then it says draw a graph of the ADAS model showing the short run change. Okay, whew, we're getting in the graphs here. And so this is output and price levels. And it tells us at the beginning the economy is at full employment. So we're not really sure maybe why the Fed is doing this action. But we have a downward sloping aggregate demand, upward sloping SRAS. And if we're at full employment, that means we need an LRAS right in the middle. We'll put a dot. And so this is YF. And we're going to say PL1. And if the supply of loanable funds goes up and the interest rate real goes down, we can say from that, therefore, consumption and investment will go up, and therefore aggregate demand will go up. So we need to increase aggregate demand. And then Y1, and we can see that that would lead to higher prices in the economy and a slightly larger amount of output. Now, in the long run, we know what's going to happen, right? We know that the price level being pulled up like that will cause SRAS to shift back to a long-run equilibrium, but that's not what this problem is asking. So hopefully this helps you make sense a little bit more of the connections between the money and the loanable funds market, and I'll see you next time.